This is a special conversation for me. Juli Jenkins and David Jenkins are some of my oldest mentors and oldest friends. They helped me buy houses whenever I was in college before I even got in the real estate business, and she is one of the most successful real estate agents in this area. Her and David are a great team, and how they operate their business is super, super awesome. If you want to learn more about them, check out this conversation with Juli Jenkins and David Jenkins.
So welcome to the show. Today I have some of my oldest real estate friends. I think maybe actually I could take it back. You are probably my oldest real estate friends that I've ever that I've had since I've graduated college or in college. So
I've actually referred to her as Jared's Julie before. Yeah. It's like your nickname.
I got Mr. David, Miss Juli Jenkins. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We're excited. I mean, before we got started, we were talking. We didn't talk much about how we first met. It was just a complete coincidence that you had a condo listed in Baton Rouge that my parents ended up buying for us to live in. And then we had that for like 6 months, sold that. And then over the next 4 or 5 years, bought and sold several houses in Baton Rouge. Yep. And I remember pacing down the sidewalk in law school in property class, calling Miss Juli, asking all kind of questions about property. And so that was a good time. So I appreciate all that.
I remember sitting at your table having sushi with you and Chris.
Yeah.
Talking about getting into property management.
That's right.
Love it.
And then she helped me buy my first house while she was hanging out of the side of a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. So all good times. But I'm really excited to tell the audience about who you are. I mean, I know y'all are out of Baton Rouge. Most of our audience is around here. We do some deals in Baton Rouge, and we deal with a lot of real estate professionals, and they're all looking to grow. And so I'm excited for them to learn from you guys, but also our sphere learn more about what you guys do, because y'all have a really cool husband and wife relationship in the business. So.
Surviving husband and wife relationship in the
business. Thriving. So when y'all got into this business, I know that Miss Juli started first, Mr. David, you came a few years later, but you come from a corporate background, both of you. Like, how critical was that experience in the corporate America to you becoming a small business professional in Baton Rouge?
Priceless.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the catalyst for our learning to be able to deal with people in so many facets.
Yeah.
So many facets of negotiation, interaction, people skills, management, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Real estate is a people business.
Yeah.
It's all
relationships. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you started, you worked for the Yellow Pages, right? You're selling lines in the Yellow Page. Are you selling actually books to people, or were you selling advertisements?
Advertisement. So
Gotcha.
it's been advertisement, and
Got it.
then I was in sales, so it was inside sales. So I mean, over the telephone, that's a conversation. I can have a conversation over telephone, which is what's also led to my success.
Yeah.
You have that opportunity. I can't always be face to face. I have people all over the world, all over the country that I work, and some of them have never met me.
Yeah.
Couldn't pick me out of a lineup, probably could, but I mean, that would be the case, is you don't always have that face to face. You have to get the message across.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I feel like a certain age group, though, we need to explain to them that a phone call actually is a thing,
Oh, probably.
Yes, the device works, but there's also this device where you can speak to people.
Yeah, so many problems can be solved if you pick up the phone and have a phone conversation. But so what made you, I never asked you this question, what made you go from that job at corporate America selling Yellow Pages to getting into the real estate business?
I had kids.
Yeah.
Them things.
Yeah. I was at a point where I was in sales management and I was managing people. And it's interesting because I look now and I'm like, you can't want something for other people. Mm-hmm. So like, you want them to be successful. You give them the tools. You tell them how to do it. The coach, right? But then they don't do it.
Amen.
And it's extremely frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember having kids and then literally sitting across the desk and somebody's talking to me and they're getting in trouble because they couldn't do what I was asking them to do. And I was like, but you can, but you choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, my head, like the sound turned off and their mouth was moving, but I couldn't hear anything. I was just thinking to myself, please don't throw the chair at them. Okay. So I was like, I knew then I had to leave.
Yeah.
Because I was no longer tolerant of that behavior.
Right.
And so I was like, here I am telling people how to be successful and they're not doing it. But I'm like, I'm just going to go do it.
Yeah. I've had that realization in the past couple of years where it's just, you you can put there's so much opportunity out there in the world, especially in the real estate business, that you can focus on yourself and put great people around you, support you as that person who is the rainmaker or the business generator, whatever you want to call it, and be very successful, make a huge impact on a lot of people. You don't have to be a corporate America. And it's funny because, being entrepreneurially minded, I've never really been attracted to that world, and I've jumped into the real estate so quickly that it's kind of foreign to me to even think, like, how do you get into that kind of track and get stuck there?
This wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
I'll be like, we were corporate.
Mm-hmm.
We had great cush jobs, great, nice figure jobs and, benefits and all that. This was never, I didn't have this plan. I didn't say I was going to be a business owner. I didn't say I was going to do this. It kind of did just evolve, honestly. So it was like, ultimately in corporate, the next job I took from AT&T was another sales management job. I got laid off. I got laid off after Katrina. Well, you don't fire an overachiever. Okay. Like that's a blow to an ego big time. But at that point, I was also under challenged. So we were already flipping property. We were already rolling it into
gigs.
I already had the side gigs because there wasn't enough. So the challenge had to be a little bit more. And so it was like we were flipping and then we were buying properties. I was doing all that without a license. So this was me getting into real estate with a corporate job and 2 kids and doing that, right?
Yeah.
And so that was, what does that drive? But then when you get laid off, you're like, what am I going to be when I grow up?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, then you create it for yourself.
What am I going to do? So then literally you can tell the story, but I was like, everybody was like, go get your license. I was like, I don't need a license to do what I do.
I've been doing it.
Right? I'm just saying. But then I was like, at that point, you realize how many other people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Okay. But then David's like, oh God, she's getting her real estate license. She's going to work all the weekends. She's going to do open houses. I'm going to have the kids after work. Like,
no, but you want to know what? There's something, and I want to make this point today. One of the things that I tell people this all the time, and you don't know how many times I told the story about you and your family, that you told me at one point that when you had your young kids and you were driving around in that white Lexus SUV with all your real estate stuff in the back of it, that you told your clients, if you want to get me, you get my kids. And if you're not okay with that, that's fine. But if you want me, and I'm the best person you can have,
I'm a package deal.
Yeah, you have to come with my kids. And your kids came everywhere you went. Every time you did a listing presentation, or your kids were always there, and your kids were great. So it was, that's not like they were, running around breaking things. Y'all have amazing kids. But I always thought that was admirable that you said that. You made that clear. You set your expectations up front, and there was no negotiating that. If you want me, then you get my kids too.
Yeah.
And it was fun watching it. Except for that one, for whatever reason, you must have had a really nice listing whenever you invited me over to babysit. Whenever I'm 18 years old, I'm watching these kids at the house.
Watching my kids jump off of a brick wall into my pool.
That is just something I never connected.
Yeah. He was like, can I go get lunch first? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
I shared a meme this past week, so I just want to point it out. And it said she didn't pause her dreams. She brought her kids with her. And so I just love that we're bringing up this story because I think sometimes people don't have that expanded mindset to know that that's possible. Right? They just see what they've experienced in their own life. And I was blessed with seeing and having a working mom, and she had a hair salon in our house. And so I was always part of the business.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing when you're teaching your kids what's
100%.
possible.
But I wanted them to learn.
Yeah.
Like I don't know who's dating who or who's going to the prom with who. Like that's not important. But we are talking about business deals, and we are talking about money, and we are talking about financial education. And so I'm like, I feel like those are more substantive conversations. But that's just who we've always been. And so like, that's what my kids have grown up around and
grow up to be capable.
So
yeah.
It's funny, their kids or their friends will come over and sit at the dinner table with us. And when they walk away, they talk to the boys and they're like, do y'all talk about this stuff every time at dinner? What else are we going to talk about?
Right.
What
Gossip?
other people are talking about this?
No.
It's funny. Me and my parents have the same similar conversation around our fertility, and it's normal, and it's just the value and the culture that you set within your own family. Like people don't realize how important that is, and again, I can't reiterate how impactful it was to me to say like the value or the family aspect of what I do. It bleeds over into everything that I do, and they're the priority. So if you want to get me, they're going to be a part of these conversations with you, and I'm going to do a great job, but my kids are going to be there. And so, I always admired that about you. And so speaking like transitioning with family, I think, and I might be speaking for you, but y'all's team, y'all see them as family. And I've experienced that because you've operated out of your house for your whole that time I've known you. Yeah. You walk into their house whenever we were in college and there was 7 computers and laptops out on the kitchen table, and the whole team's there working, and Ron's been with you for
15 years.
15 years now. So he's been there for a long time.
The assistant she's ever had.
And he's a rock star. Mm-hmm. Ron's the man. And so like,
the only assistant she ever needed.
Yeah. So what does y'all's team mean to you, and how have y'all developed the team over the years?
It's like David said, like there's a trust factor, and I believe in hiring talent. Mm-hmm. And I've explained that to you before too. Mm-hmm. It's like when you find talent, you latch on. You may pay for talent, and they may be a little ahead of where you are, but you put talent on your bus and you make a spot for them. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then you couple that with, David likes happy people. So you have to be happy to be in our world. Okay. Because if you're negative and you're just a drain, like you can't be in our world.
Yeah.
And like, that's exhausting.
Sure.
And so,
I think that was one of my biggest pet peeves working in corporate America is I couldn't always pick who I worked with. Mm. It was, here's your team. And I would do my best to disappear people that weren't happy. But once I left and joined Julie's team, it was like, that's the one thing I'm not going to compromise on.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen how the real estate industry has gone up and down, and y'all seem to get bigger and smaller kind of as you go. And y'all kind of live in in the Keller Williams umbrella. But I also noticed y'all don't necessarily follow the team structure as it's, prescribed in the MREA, but you still have a team, right? And so like, what's your mindset with your team? There's no way that you can do as many deals as you do in a year without having a process and a team that handles your files, but you are involved in a lot of them. So how do y'all structure y'all's day to day?
We're lean, but there is a process, and like, I'm blessed because David's brilliant, and like his background in the chemical engineering was process optimization. Mm. Okay. Process optimization. What is real estate? It's a process. Yeah. And so it's like, if you can find a way to streamline the process, then so be it. Right. Mm. Well, that was the whole thing, is like, we were blowing up, mega deals, mega this, but you're like, I don't have time. Like, you're making money. I don't have time to spend it. Right. But things weren't getting dropped. Balls were getting dropped, showing up without a deposit check, showing up without a termite certificate. Like, you don't do that. Like that, I stroke checks when those mistakes get made. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, what do I do? And I was like, fix the holes on the boat. That's your job.
Yeah.
You figure that out. Like, I'm out killing the deer. You're the responsible for doing the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of the way we've operated. Is I don't tell him what to do. I just say, fix the holes on the boat. Mm. And then he creates that. No, this is your bailiwick, but he came from that engineering background where you look at a control panel every day, and he looks at all the deals, every deal we've got going, and it's all on one panel. And so he knows what's got to happen, and he can program Excel to do the hoochie coochie dance, for God's sakes. So that's him. Okay. But that's his arena. I can't touch that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Julie doesn't get to do that. I'm fine.
You got it locked?
Yeah, well, okay, so it started where it was all a very paper-based folder system. And when she started as an individual agent, she was doing really well. I think she got to a point where she was working until 2 a.m. by herself, trying to manage a pretty thriving business. And I think that's where, who was it, Gary Keller or somebody said, lead with revenue. Well, it was time for an assistant. So she hires Ron. Fast forward, Ron's running, say, 15 deals on paper, and he's doing fine. But then when we got up to 25 deals, that's when things started.
Capacity, yeah.
Yeah, started slipping through the cracks. So that's where that whole Excel automation spreadsheet worked, where everything's conditionally formatted. You can see everything in one spot. You know when you're missing deadlines, and so now he's able to run, say, 30 deals off that spreadsheet. And we did get to a point where we were running like 45, and we had 2 people run the spreadsheet. But we scaled back down where
that's like 45 pending and 60 listings. So this is more like 100.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had, it's him and Ron and maybe another assistant at one point. We're in that all day, every day. And they're just basically killing the things that are popping up, dude.
Yeah.
That's what you're responsible
So
for.
the desk assessment, I'm a DI, she's a DC. So when we talk about processes and things, or being more efficient, my mind always goes to, usually goes to, let's bring on somebody else to plug into this hole. And she wants to go to the process first. And let's make sure it's we're as efficient as we can be with the team we had before we bring on somebody else. Because then you got all the other dynamics of personality you got to deal with. So it sounds like kind of the same situation where you're making sure that y'all are as efficient as possible before you bring on somebody else to also make it more complicated.
Right. And I'm the DI.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
Opposite end of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
Total opposites.
Yeah.
We luckily marry on that D aspect where we both want to move fast and we're both very much drivers. So we don't frustrate one another with that. Because that's a lot of what I see in my business partnerships when they find a good person that supports them in process, but they don't necessarily have the same drive. So there's a frustration in timing, communication that's always there.
Well, that's the benefit is like nobody's got my back more than David.
Love it.
So again, you want to talk about the marriage situation. We went and consulted with another team from Keller Williams in New Orleans. There was a husband and wife before he would make the plunge. If you want to know the honest truth, because it was like, we have to work together every day. We have to then, have dinner and sleep together. And then we got to wait, we're going to be together 24/7. Am I going to like you after that?
Yeah.
So it's like, but that was where David didn't try to jump in my business and take over. Mm-hmm. My business was already successful. David is, wonderful at what can I do to help you? Mm-hmm. What can I do to help you? What can I take off of you? And like my love language is like gifts of time or gifts of service, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, if you take the laundry off of me, you go to the grocery store, like that just gives me time to do something that may be more dollar productive.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. And so it's evaluated that way. So it's like, he knows where my lane is and like he doesn't cross in, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But he does nothing but support. Now, I'm the risk taker.
Yeah.
And so he may not always like what I come up
This
with.
idea.
Yeah, I love that kind of thing. I'll text Lauren that. I'll text Lauren that on a Sunday. Like, I was thinking about this.
Thinking.
Am I available?
Yeah. So I have to give him a little time to warm up to it, right? Mm-hmm. But in the end, like, he knows I'm probably going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so he's got to figure out a way to get on board.
Yeah. Or present it to you in a way that makes it make sense to you that it's a good idea, but it's going to take way too much stuff to get it done. So we're going to focus on something else right now.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to touch on this before we move on to the next segment about the property management side of y'all's business too. Because you were doing that while you were still working corporate America, right?
Yeah.
And y'all got up to where you had 40 plus properties at one point.
No, I've never been there.
Yeah, I think we topped out around 20.
Okay.
But we were running, I think, around a dozen at the end of my career in corporate America. Mm-hmm. And that was just too much to run a dozen. So I guess sometimes I think it's a limiting point of view because I manage all of my own rentals. Mm-hmm. Okay. Once we had 12, I don't want to relinquish that responsibility to a property management group. So that's where I say it's limiting. Like I'm going to top out around 20 properties I can't do anymore.
And mostly college rentals, right? Like most of them are in, okay.
They're all around the college. So in the summertime, it is absolutely a full-time job. Like I pull out of the real estate sales side of the business. And so the cyclicality of the real estate that's the busiest time too. Right. But yet I've got to pull away to deal with all the rental properties. It's mainly the turnover is what takes all the time. But once I get past around the first week of August, I tell people it's always something, but never much. It's always something though. Like every day I have to go out and deal with some stupid little thing, and then I've got the rest of the day to deal with
Real
the
estate
sales
stuff.
side.
But I want to say this is where the family comes into play.
Yeah.
Because, when our boys were growing up
Them kids in.
and they were 12 and they were 14, I mean, we got 2 boys.
Yeah.
Right. And I call them life skills.
And they're not little.
They're
dudes.
not little dudes. I know. And they're smart. Like I got that. But like they have tools and they can change a light bulb. They can change a dishwasher, hang a ceiling fan. They can change out a garbage. But like my
build a
kids
toilet.
have like some skills,
Yeah.
right? So that's where he was taking them to deal with the rental property. And so learning that. And what we've always said is we own work. When you have this many houses, you own work.
It's a legacy, yeah.
I'm going to hire somebody to do the work. So why wouldn't I hire my kids? Why wouldn't they hire their friends and then they do it? But now you show them the value. I'm not handing anything to them. They're working for it.
And how much of an impact has that made on them? I mean, I know one of the boys, Garrett, already has a rental property.
Colin has 2
Colin has
plus
2
his
rental-
own
Yeah.
personal house, and Garrett has 1.
Yeah. And these kids are what? They're 20.
Colin's 25, has 3 houses, and Garrett's 22 and has 1.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I
awesome.
love it.
Yeah.
That excites me.
Yeah. So how processed out is the turnover process?
The turnover is very
Methodical.
very methodical.
Yeah.
I've got like a 50-point checklist that I take to the property, and it runs me from the attic to every drain to checking every doorknob and every cabinet hinge and
Smoke
It's
detector
got
batteries or
everything. And so we just go through, and when your eyes are like that close to your property, you notice other things while you're there, and you just add it to the list. So it takes about 2 to 3 days
Yeah.
to get through a house.
Yeah.
but to keep it to
They're
Dave's
like-
engineer level.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, but I mean, how often do you have a surprise issue that happens on the house?
It'll happen. It's still a surprise.
Yeah,
But
there's a couple.
this is preventative.
Yeah, but my report card is, do you call me back when you move in? And if you're calling me back, then I did something wrong, and I'm usually making adjustments to my list.
Yeah.
But some things are just going to happen.
Yeah. So the mindset around y'all's rental properties are not passive income. They're
No.
full time. They're a job that
No.
y'all are operating a business.
100%. It is not mailbox money.
And people miss that perspective, especially people who get into real estate. First people get into real estate, they want to be a real estate investor, and they have no idea that helping somebody with a contract, and acquiring a property, there's a whole nother aspect of it you got to deal with. That,
So
Well, I'm going to turn the tables. You and Chris.
yeah. Well,
You wanted to get into law school and wanted to go on the property management trade, right? And then bought the properties, and that property management cracked up to be, right? So it's like, it's not for everyone. And then you figure out, again, you're now managing tenants and managing a property and managing all of the baggage that comes with that. So, I mean, it's not simple.
No.
Yeah.
It is not passive. The REIT.
Positive note, it's almost the first week of August, so you're almost there.
I am. I think I'm finishing my last one this
Yeah.
Nice.
this afternoon.
Almost there.
We'll try to get you out of here.
But I don't do the property management to save money. It's really about a standard I'm trying to
For sure.
maintain.
Which one? That's
It's
great.
hard to
'Cause-
find property managers that meet that standard.
Especially
Right.
especially around LSU, where most people just want a white box with that you can put a beer pong table in the middle of. It's not
I
like
think they also have a low standard because
Yeah.
they're like, well, what do those college kids care?
yeah,
And like that's a totally different gig. Like we want our tenants to be happy and want to stay, and we want the rent paid on time, and we don't want to hear from the parents, and we don't like that. That's a whole nother gig.
sure. You bust your butt for those couple weeks of summer, so you don't have to deal with this stuff on the back end. For sure.
Yep.
We're at LSU twice a year for swim meets, and we Airbnb. So we're like there often, and there's always a couple of meets throughout the year too. There's always fun stuff at those rentals because it's always like college party rentals
Yes,
Right.
that's available.
that's funny.
I do
Well, you're
enjoy-
probably in the neighborhoods that we own property.
probably.